letting us in.
Welcome back to the Haunted Heart Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. You are sitting here with your hosts, Kenny
and Katie.
And we're here to deliver trash to you for the third year in a row.
We are.
That's really awkward sounding because it sounds like we've only done it one episode a year.
Stunning.
But
sometimes
fine.
It feels like that, I'm sure.
Honestly. I bet they would love for us to only do one episode a year.
Yeah.
It is. But yes. Oh my gosh. Happy post-Valentine's Day, folks. This episode's coming at you after Valentine's. We hope you had a good one.
We hope that you did. We hope that you're still here with us.
Yeah.
And we hope that you are hanging in there. We are doing marginally better than the last time that we were here together.
Just marginally.
Yeah, but we're hanging in and it's all good. I heard from some of you guys who were kind of worried about us. It's okay. It's all right. We're hanging in. You know, we're kind of pernicious. We're a little bit like cockroaches, like the cockroaches of mental health, where like it just gets so bad that you're like, wow, I'm worried about them. But we hang in there. It's fine. We can make it through the nuclear holocaust of mental illness, I think.
I would agree with that, actually.
Yeah.
Just scurrying around, just hiding in the little corners and crevices. Yep. And then next thing you know, we're scurrying across that counter, searching for food.
Is scurrying across the counter like our up days? Like, is that the goal?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our up
So we're
days.
still cockroaches.
Our really good days is when we're in like Joe's apartment level, like musical going, but that's very rare. Otherwise, we're just scurrying across, getting a little morsel of something and carrying it back to our hovel.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what we aren't, though?
I don't know.
Alone.
Aren't we?
Despite what the darker parts of my nature might try to convince me every moment of the day. We are not alone because we have a bunch of brand new Patreon subscribers who have signed up to support the show.
One might call them patrons.
One might call them insane.
Or that. Absolutely.
I'm not sure why they're here, but I'm so glad they are.
I'm glad too. I don't know why I said that like I wasn't.
I'm glad too. I'm worried about them, but I'm glad. No, we have 3 new patrons to welcome to you tonight. So I guess.
Can't believe it.
I know. I guess we got to get off
Very
our
thematic.
asses and get to lighting some candles.
One might say.
3? 3 is thematic?
3.
Oh.
Yeah. It's our 3rd anniversary. It's 3.
Oh.
3.
Oh, got
the
it.
Trinity, the unholy Trinity, if you will. That's what we'll call these folks.
Yeah, the unholy Trinity?
Yes.
All right. Official, unofficial nicknames. There you go. You have been dubbed. All right. I am going to get this show on the road. And I am going to welcome Miss Autumn Rose. And Autumn is a brand new Stay Spooky Squad member.
Stay spooky. And I am welcoming Tom H. into our Haunted Heart harem.
Mm-hmm. And last but certainly not least, I love when people do this. We have a one-namer like Prince or Cher.
Mysterious.
I am invoking Mindy, who is a brand new Stay Spooky Squad member.
Stay spooky. All right. Our unholy trinity of Patreon subscribers. Thank you so much. Your support means the absolute most to us. It is you and everyone else that is a part of the Patreon that helps support the show. And it helps keeps us running, keeps us fed.
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't keep us fed.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't feed us.
It allows us to pay our editor, which is much appreciated because
absolutely
it is quite necessary. So
absolutely.
We
Very
love
much.
Joel and we want him to get paid.
Yes, everyone thank Joel. Joel, have your moment right now.
He's good. He's a good one.
Yes.
All right. So what are we doing this week?
I don't really know, honestly. So I went last week. We had some good feedback. A lot of people, few comments were like, they really liked the story. They thought it was fun. They loved. I didn't think anybody said anything to me about Speedy, but our one guy, August, Weasel Man, they liked him.
Oh, yeah.
They loved our characterizations of him. So that was great. We did that. So I'm pretty much just in the passenger seat. You're the one that's driving us into the unknown.
Well, we had these. I mean, you guys know us. We had these grandiose plans.
Did we?
We wanted to revisit an old theme that we had done before. We wanted to revisit, in fact, the first theme that we had ever tackled on the show for you, which the OG Haunted Heart listeners know is Jilted Lovers.
Yes.
So all the way back 3 years ago, when the world was bright and beautiful and full of potential, Kenny and I sat down at his kitchen table and we recorded an episode on Jilted Lovers. And we covered two different stories and we kind of did a little, that was back in the days when we would try to cover 2 stories per episode and we would rush through it and it'd be all fucked up. As opposed to now when we actually take the time.
Yes. To savor it.
Yeah. But back in the day we were doing the most. And so we wanted to kind of revisit that theme because we were thinking, it would be really cool around Valentine's Day to talk about Jilted Lovers. And so that is kind of how today's episode was born.
Yes.
So I have a little story for you. I have a tale, if you will.
A tale? I love a tale. Love a good story.
Yeah. Well, you're in luck.
Am I?
You're in the right place. So I have a tale prepared for you, and the name of that tale is A Very Unnatural Crime.
Oh no. Well, crime in and of itself is unnatural, right?
Some would argue not. Some would argue that crime and violence is innate within us and is part of human nature itself.
Can't stand you. I just love that you can just twist it like that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
God.
Absolutely. But here at the Haunted Heart, now we're generally fans. We're generally big fans, actually, of things that are unnatural hair colors, unnatural foods and flavors, unnatural perturbations spawned by hours and hours spent researching the most heinous of crimes and unsettling bumps in the night, both of this world and of the next. Mm-hmm. Point is, we tend to like the unnatural around these parts. And this story is no exception because, my friends, the unnatural element in question in this particular story is none other than good old-fashioned lesbianism.
The most unnatural.
The most unnatural.
Most
Congratulations, lesbians. You have won the title of the most unnatural. Yeah. We are all very jealous of you. Congratulations. This is the story of Alice Mitchell and her murdered lover, Freda Ward, termed by newspapers of the time a very unnatural crime.
I'm just here to tell you that I am of the opinion that on the hierarchy of queerness, lesbians are just on another level. Love them.
Yeah, they're on a different. Love them. Love them. Nothing like them. Nothing like a lesbian. I will tell you that in my experience, in my, limited world experience, limited to just my life, right? A lesbian is always there for you. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, but I don't know that I would have to deal with my attachment issues if I were a lesbian. It's just this it's just this fucking queer shit that is tripping me up. If I could go full lesbian, then I think I'd be okay.
I will tell you though, yes, very, it's a very, very powerful force of queerness there behind lesbianism. But I'm gonna tell you what, I worked with a lesbian couple one time. And they had, like, I thought me and my husband, being gay men, had like some bad fights, bad arguments. Yeah. Nothing compared to them.
Nothing. No.
Jesus. Oh my God. I clutched my pearls several times.
Maybe not
a lesbian argument.
I'm a child. I'm a spoiled child, and I have to be treated like a princess, or else I get upset.
Yeah.
Maybe I couldn't be a real lesbian because I have to be spoiled.
Yes.
Anyway, so this case, right? This is now Patreon folks I'm not going to say you will. I'm not going to put that on you, but you might recognize this case as one of the coloring pages that we released for Patreon folks for Valentine's Day. We posted, if you're on the Patreon and you haven't looked, maybe go look.
Go check that out.
There's some shit over there. But we posted a friend of the show, A to Z. They have an Etsy shop. She made these custom coloring books, or coloring pages rather, for the show. And there were like 3 different ones. And she like did like one that was themed like Sasquatch. They were tarot themed. And one was like Sasquatch. That was like the hermit card. The Fool was Pennywise the Clown. So like tapping into like horror. And then the Lovers card was actually about this case. And that was sort of by design.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that was kind of like the inspiration. So shout out to Julia for that. We will try to link her Etsy shop in the description of this episode, because she actually has a promo code for all our listeners for $1 off at her shop. Nice. And her stuff is already really reasonably priced. She does like coloring books, and they're really good. Listeners who have kids, they're really, really good for kids, because it's like A to Z. So it's like letters. So they're like learning to read and shit while they're coloring. It's really cool. So if you have kids, you should check it out. I kind of want one, even though I don't have kids.
I plan on getting there and coloring some of those pages.
Yeah, fuck yeah. They're really awesome, like coloring pages. Like I kind of just want to tattoo them on my body.
I thought the same thing. I was like, damn, those are like really good.
Yeah, they're really awesome. So we'll link her in the description box, and we'll put the code HAUNTED there for you in case you want to buy from her. We would encourage you to do that.
Yes, support small businesses, which is another throwback. We used to do that quite frequently. Shout out, smaller businesses. So we should
bring that back. If you have a small business, email us your information at thehauntedheartpodcast@gmail.com. We will shout you out. We love small businesses in like the horror space, or like the magic space, or even like,
just
like
self-care.
I mean, I love space. If you have like a Star Trek memorabilia shop, I will shout that the fuck out on this show. And it's not even consistent with our branding, but I will. So anyway, back to the case. Back to the unnatural crime.
Back to the lesbians.
Alice Mitchell was born in 1872 to parents George and Isabella Mitchell. Supposedly, Alice was never interested in the toys that young girls were interested in. Instead, she preferred to play on the swing in her yard, and also played both baseball and football with her brothers. Now, interestingly, they never tell me what toys it was that she wasn't interested in, that young girls were, but like playing on the fucking swing and playing baseball and football was like literally what I did as a child. So yeah. I don't really think, I feel like a lot of the backstory on Alice Mitchell, because the case is so old, is written to make her seem like the most stereotypical lesbian ever. And it's like, oh, she didn't like girl toys. She played on a swing. And I'm like, does that mean you want to fuck women? Like, what is it about the swing action that like makes you want to have sex with women? I don't get it. I
mean, swings can be fun, but
for all genders,
with anything.
So Alice had 4 siblings in total. She had 2 older brothers, Robert and Frank, and an elder sister, Maddie, and then her middle sister was Addie. She was closest with her brother Frank. Together, Alice and Frank played with marbles and practiced shooting a rifle. Again, things that I did as a child. Alice also liked horses and helped to take care of her father's horse. Her mother tried to teach her sewing and needlework, but Alice never enjoyed doing this work, nor was ever able to learn how. Because it was boring as shit.
Absolutely. I took a home ec class one time.
Sewing's really fucking hard.
And, they gave us like a little sample of fabric, like a little square, and they gave you a button, and you had to learn how to sew the button into the square.
Yeah.
And I just could not.
You were fucked up over that.
So I could never figure out like getting the thread through the needle just frustrated me like so much. And I'm just, there's that little bit of like Virgo cusp in me that's like, I have to be perfect at everything. And, you have to know how to do it, right? Yeah. And it just didn't work out. And so I think I ended up just like crying and because I just broke down because you couldn't get the fucking button into the fabric. And I'm like, why do I need to sew this fucking button into this fabric? It's not going to anything. This button isn't closing anything. Why am I sewing this button onto this square?
Crisis. So I can sew well enough to mend things. Like if there's a hole in something, I can like sew it up. If there's or I could maybe sew a patch on it. I can sew a button on. But I can't sew. Like I'm in awe of people who are like, oh yeah, I got this pattern and I'm just gonna sew this fucking shirt. And I'm like, how do you do that magic? I love like friends who do creative things like sewing and stuff. The closest I can get is crochet.
Shout out to Christy.
Yeah, Christy's incredible. Our Murder Mod Squad member and also the host of
Snacks with Stein. Co-host.
Co-host with Danielle, who is also our other Murder Mod Squad member. It's a real incestual family over here in this corner of the podcast world. Incestual and lesbian. Anyway, I guess you're honorary, Kenny.
Yeah, okay.
People who can sew are wizards, and we should respect and love them. But Alice Mitchell was not one of those people. Nor am I.
She was not a wizard.
No, she was not a wizard. And that's why she was gay. If you can't sew, you're gay. Which is ironic.
Right?
For like all the gay men who are listening to this podcast while sewing incredible things. So anyway, Alice hated the fucking sewing. Loved the pussy. That's how it was. She was apparently not interested in boys as a child when most girls became interested in boys. And in fact, as she grew older, she was sometimes rude to young men.
Oh, no. That is the most heinous offense of them all. She was sometimes rude
to young men. I'm going to tell you what, you came here for a horror podcast and you are getting it today. Rude to young men. Have you ever heard such a thing?
Oh, no.
I surely haven't.
Oh, no. What will those poor young men do?
They're so fragile.
What will those poor young men do?
We have to protect them. So as Alice grew older, she enrolled in and attended the Highby School I think it's called Higby School for young ladies in Memphis, Tennessee. Shout out to Memphis. And this was where she met Freda Ward. Alice and Freda were very open about their relationship. They kissed, hugged, and held hands openly. But these displays of female affection weren't exactly considered official homosexual behavior during the late 1800s because as intimate female friendships had come to be known as chumming in Memphis. So basically, like, it was normal to walk down the street holding your like non-sexual, non-romantic girlfriend's hand.
Right. I mean, yeah.
It was just like, it was sort of like society viewed women as little girls still. And so like it was normal for like, just like if two little girls were walking down the street holding hands, right. Like it was fine for two grown ass women to be walking down the street holding hands, which right. I'm all for. Hold hands with whoever you want to hold hands with. I mean, sometimes it just feels good to hold your friend's hand and you should do that. Kenny won't let me do that because he has
hate holding hands.
The opposite kind of attachment issues as me.
I think TikTok tells me I have avoidant attachment.
You do. Yeah. And I have anxious attachment. So it's a really fun friendship for us. Like it's a really good time because I need to be basically inside of his body at all times. And he needs me to be 10 feet across the room. I
just need everybody to be 10 feet across the room.
Right.
Fuck 6 feet. Just
COVID precautions.
No. And then there's also the fact that, a woman could never possibly,
they couldn't
want
be
to
finger
just
banging
be with a woman, right? And not a man.
Yeah.
Right? Like that would never happen.
That would never happen.
Of course, she would just always want to be with a man.
She's not having the best sex of her life.
What?
Getting eaten out every other day. That's not happening.
Can I just say, for some reason, I thought we were in like late 80s, early 90s, but we're in the 1800s.
So technically we're in the 70s, 80s, but of the 1800s.
Right.
Not the 1900s. Yes. Yeah. I bet the finger banging it in the carriage comment really threw you then.
Well, the finger banging didn't. The carriage did.
You're imagining like a Cyndi Lauper thing. Like there's just a lot going on. There's a lot of neon.
Girls just want to have fun.
No, it's less of that. It's more petticoats.
Got it.
So this was sort of something that was like considered normal. And it's one of those things where like, I kind of wonder, like the story reads very much to me like maybe at that time, Memphis was potentially a hub of lesbian activity that like, maybe it was like that everywhere, but maybe it was like a spot where like lesbians sort of like congregated because things were like open and fairly, I mean, it was not open to the point that you were talking about it, but it was just sort of like, we just don't really.
Well, you have to go back and look at the history. You know what I'm saying? Like if you could there have potentially been a Home Depot there, right?
Maybe
if that is the case, like maybe there was, I mean, like, you put in a Home Depot and lesbians shall come.
Absolutely. Except I have to shop at Lowe's now.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, we officially switched over to Lowe's in the lesbian and lesbian adjacent community. We've made the transition. Yeah, so chumming. We were just chumming in Memphis.
Yeah,
and like if you kissed your girl or hugged your girl or held hands with your girl, it's cool. We're just chums.
Yeah.
We're just chums. So obviously, though, Alice and Freda's relationship was considerably more serious than just chumming. And I don't think they were the only ones. Alice especially was said to have a bit of an obsession with Freda. Shortly after the young women became close, Freda's family tragically left Memphis and moved upriver to Gold Dust, Tennessee.
Ooh, sounds fancy. Not Gold Dust, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. And of course, because Alice and Freda no longer lived in the same city, they only saw each other occasionally from that point on. But when one of them would make the trip to see the other, they would stay together for weeks at a time. When visiting, the two would share a bed at night. Freda was reportedly not as serious about the relationship as Alice was and was interested in two men in addition to Alice. Don't you judge Freda. Freda's working through some things. Maybe Freda has some attachment problems. Maybe Freda's just trying to find her way and find her path. We will not judge her here. Freda's just an open lady, experiencing what the world has to offer her.
Okay.
Just a little defensive of her. She's just trying to live her life.
We're not shaming Freda. No Freda shaming.
We're not shaming her. She was just trying to, figure things out.
Mm-hmm.
But Alice done already got him figured. And Alice figured that it was going to be Freda or bust. So Alice and Freda continued dating until Freda's eldest sister and surrogate mother, Ada Volkmar, which is a villain's name if I have ever heard one in my life.
Ada Volkmar?
Ada Volkmar.
Ada Volkmar.
Doesn't that just dry up all the fluids in your body immediately? Volkmar.
My name is Ada Volkmar.
Yeah.
And I am here
to ruin everything.
To ruin everything.
Yes. So Ada was not a fan of this relationship and forbade Freda to communicate with Alice. But Alice was pretty clever, as lesbians often are, right?
Yes, as most lesbians are.
Alice was pretty clever, as it turns out a lesbian in the late 1800s had to be, and she devised a scheme in which she would dress as a man, marry Freda, and take her off to live in St. Louis as husband and wife with Alice under the assumed name Alvin J. Ward.
This sounds like a movie.
Yeah, right?
This is very much, this is giving me very much like a old school, old Hollywood, like, plot line here.
Yep. So she's going to live as Alvin. That's a tough one. I don't know why you wouldn't choose like Alan or like
Alvin.
Alvin is tough. Alvin is a decision that you've made.
Hey,
you could choose Al, Alan.
Hey, Al.
You could choose Alex. You could choose a lot. But she went for Alvin.
Alvin.
So
Alvin.
So it was her plan that she would, live as Alvin and she would find work to support Freda and they would live as husband and wife. Freda accepted the proposal and it seemed like things were looking up for a brief moment. But reality, as it often does, came crashing down around them.
Goddamn reality.
When Ada Volkmar discovered the women's letters, including the particulars of the proposal, and she sent a letter to Alice and Alice's mother, Isabella, warning Alice to stay away from Freda. As a result of her relationship being exposed and not being able to see Freda, Alice fell into a deep, deep depression. It was quite difficult for her. Now, there's not a lot on like how Freda dealt with this, because obviously, I know like we talked like earlier, sources seem to suggest that like maybe Freda wasn't that into it and maybe she wasn't that serious and she was talking to these two other guys. But like when Alice proposed that they live together in marital union, like Freda accepted. So she had to be serious on some level.
Right.
Like she didn't blow off the proposal. She accepted it. So I feel like this story, like the way that the story has been recorded, and of course there's not a ton of different source material to go off of, but like I feel like the way that the story is told most often doesn't give us insight into like how did Freda feel about having her relationship ripped away from her by her weird sister mother, who seems like maybe she had some control issues herself.
Sister mother.
But like we don't really get much from Freda's side of things and how she felt about it. But Alice did not do well. She didn't take that too well. No.
Oh, okay.
She was rarely with her family and she would stay awake at night. She ate very little. Alice would spend her time remembering her relationship with Freda. She would observe an old photograph of Freda and just reread her letters over and over. And she often signed receipts with the name Freda Ward and then claimed that she didn't realize what she was doing. So she, like, clearly it was something that was on her mind and she was just haunted every moment of every day.
Damn.
Which is awful.
Yeah.
Feel for her. Must be tough. So Alice isn't doing well. And it's like that for a while. And then on the night of January 25th, 1892, Freda Ward was out on the town in Memphis, go figure, with her older sister, Jo Ward. Not Ada Volkmar.
Not Ada.
Not Ada Volkmar.
Ada Volkmar, the Power Rangers villain.
Yeah, right.
Isn't that a song, Walking in Memphis?
Yeah.
That's a song. Okay.
Yes, which is weird because I just heard that song yesterday for the first time in forever, so it's very strange that it came up again.
Who sings that?
Walking in Memphis. Walking. I think we're going to get copyrighted for that.
Oh, Jesus. Who's going to copyright us?
It's by a band that I don't think... Oh. Hang on, we're going to have to get to the bottom of this because now it's going to be the unofficial anthem of this episode. Mark Cohn.
Huh.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be by somebody you'd remember.
Huh. Mark Cohn.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well.
Yeah, it's a good song. It's a tough one. It's weirdly sad and nostalgic, and like you don't really understand why. Because I was really only in Memphis like once, maybe twice in my life, and I ate barbecue, and it wasn't really that big of a deal. Like, I mean, it was nice, but it was a good barbecue.
It wasn't like that North Carolina barbecue.
No, that's it. Or the Alabama barbecue, actually. Alabama's got some good barbecue.
I don't know. That hasn't been verified yet.
It's good. It's good. So anyway, on this night, January 25th, 1892, Freda is walking in Memphis, if you will, with her older sister, Jo Ward, and her friend, Christina Purnell. Freda, Jo, and Christina were headed towards the river to the steamboat, or the Oralee, which would take them to gold dust, which is fucking hilarious, and I just caught it. Because it's 2 words, the orally.
The orally. Yeah, I caught that immediately. The orally.
Oh, man.
Hey, who runs that steamboat?
God, only in the lesbian episode. Okay, so here's the deal. Memphis had to be the New York City for lesbianism of this time because the steamboat is literally called the Orally.
That's like a drag name if I've ever heard one.
My God. Iconic.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage. Orally.
Can we ride that? Like, can we go?
Oh, I bet you can. Absolutely, you can.
Can we go to Memphis and take that?
Excuse me, I'm looking for the Orally.
Yeah.
Is she available?
Is
she available now?
Yeah,
maybe she might be. I would imagine she's probably turned into like an Airbnb situation. Mm-hmm. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know that I'd want to Airbnb that though. A steamboat's one thing. Airbnb seems like a lot of commitment. I got to bring all my shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, Freda, Joe, and Christina, they're headed towards the steamboat. And they're headed back to Gold Dust when out of nowhere, Alice appeared.
I thought it was going to be Ada.
No, unfortunately. And Alice, she just sort of out of nowhere slashed Freda across the face with her father's razor. Joe. Freda's
what did I tell you about the drama? What did I tell you at the start of this?
Such drama.
What did I tell you? You got to be careful.
Truly. Joe, who was, of course, Freda's sister, tried to protect her by attacking Alice with an umbrella, but it was to no avail. Further angered by Joe's attack, Alice sliced Joe's collarbone. Freda, bleeding and disoriented, was finally killed when Alice took a deep slice across her throat. After killing Freda, Alice went back into the wagon that she had followed Freda and her sister and friend in, and told Lily Johnson, who was the driver, what she'd done. Now, Lily decided to take Alice home instead of to the police. Later, both Lily and Alice were arrested. Lily was released on bond, but Alice had to remain in jail.
Okay.
So Alice was tried that summer and was declared, quote, presently insane, end quote, which is probably like one of my favorite like ways to say that. She was presently insane. I think I should set up an out of office message on my emails that's just like, sorry, I'm not available right now. I am presently insane. I'll get back to you when I am feeling more sane. Get back to you when I'm feeling more grounded. Okay. Yeah. You take care. Best wishes.
Best. Best.
What if that was your sign off? Presently insane, Katie.
Presently insane, Kenny.
I'm going to start signing all the Haunted Heart emails that way. That's what I'm going to do. Presently insane, Kenny and Katie.
Yep.
Yeah. So they declared her insane, meaning, and the way that they did it, like they said that she was insane before the murder, according to her own testimony.
Due to her lesbianism.
Well, I think that was a factor, but probably, the whole knife attack thing also played in there. But according to her own testimony, Alice said she killed Freda because if they could not get married, then there was no reason for either of them to live, and no one should marry Freda if she could not. All charges were dropped against Lily Johnson, and Alice was ordered to the Western State Hospital for the Insane located at Bolivar, Tennessee. She died there in 1898.
Wow.
Yeah. Which actually wasn't that long. I mean, she attacked and murdered Freda in 1892, and Alice died in 1898. So she died 6 years later.
So what's with this woman driving the getaway carriage here?
Yeah. That was
Did anybody circle back on her? Like
they dropped all the charges.
Huh. That's suspicious.
That's suspicious. Yeah, Alice, and by the way, I mean, we talked about it all the way back at the beginning, but it might have been a while ago for you. If you're like me, then dates just don't register when people are like, this person was born in such and such a year. don't, for some reason, my brain just doesn't take that in.
Yeah.
But Alice was only born in 1892. So she was only 20 when she attacked Freda, and then she died at 26. So this was a young person's story, basically.
We know what she died from?
No. It just says she died in the mental asylum, which, not.
She died from being presently insane.
I'm sure it was from the conditions of the mental asylum in the late 1800s.
Oh, they weren't up to par. You wouldn't think?
No, wouldn't say. I would say quite below par. Actually, I
thought that the women were just getting like masturbated frequently in those places.
No, that was an outpatient type thing. So like you would go to the doctor. Like this was bomb as fuck. Like you used to be able to go to the doctor and be like, "Doctor, I'm just anxious," and then he would just like masturbate the hell out of you, and then until you relaxed. And I'm like, why is that not a treatment nowadays? Why do these people want to give me all these drugs? Like all I need is just a little touch. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be amazing. But then again, I'm not attracted to my current family doctor, so I would have to make some changes, I think. Or maybe just look at a poster or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what I couldn't find what she died of. This is kind of like a fun little case that I think like there's like a niche of people who know all about it. I actually didn't know anything about this case, to be honest with you, before it was brought up by our lovely, lovely coloring page artist.
Yeah, I was wondering.
She died of tuberculosis, by the way.
Oh, she did?
Just so you know.
Oh.
Yeah, in the mental asylum, which totally makes sense because they had everybody like right up under each other, and like tuberculosis would like sweep through those places and kill tons of people.
Everyone. TB was the thing.
Yeah. So.
Damn.
TB cut her short.
Cut her. Oh, interesting choice of words.
Oh, God. But yeah, so that's the story of Alice Mitchell and her lover, Freda.
That was
very tragic.
Interesting. We never got any, like whatever happened to this Ada villain that we've got going on.
Yeah, what a bitch.
What happened to her?
How about you just let people be in love and let them be happy, Ada? How about you just do
Ada.
that? But also, if it doesn't work out, don't murder people. You know what I mean?
I think they were both in the wrong here.
I get it. It's tough, but you can't be murdering people. I think maybe Alice had some trouble with some anxious attachment issues as well, I think. So, unfortunately, therapy didn't exist then. So, just a tough spot.
Yeah.
Understand. I don't condone, though.
Understand, but not condone.
Yeah, just go to therapy.
That's key here.
Instead of anything with blades.
Just stay away from
Even though I did happen to buy a knife and go to therapy in the same week, but there was no, it wasn't a conscious thing. But I did do those things like almost back to back. And reflecting on it now, it seems.
What kind of a knife did you buy?
Just a knife.
Oh.
Should like be able to cut things open, like, plastic. I just want to be a more capable person, instead of relying on
nothing
others.
You're saying is like helping at all. Nothing you're saying is helping. And I just want to be a more capable person, capable of murder.
No, it's cute. It's like purple.
Uh-huh.
It's purple. Yeah, it's good.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad.
Yes. Oh yeah, I'm doing great.
That was fun. Definitely love that story. That was cool. That was interesting to try to go back to like what we used to do back in the day when we would just blow through topics like nobody's business.
Yeah,
blow through topics like we were on the Oral Lee.
Oh, it's good. It's good.
It was awful. That was a bad joke. That was so bad. So I think when we talk about our first episode, so you did your case. I don't even remember what the fuck that case was on.
I think it was the Tall Hot Blonde.
Tall Hot Blonde.
Yeah, Tall Hot Blonde. Great case.
Tall Hot Blonde. Yeah, and I did it was my first topic and also our first sort of like movie recommendation that we did for The Loved Ones, which is still an amazing movie. Definitely, I still recommend it 3 years later. Go back and watch it. But I kind of, same vein, but just a little bit different. I kind of just created a list of some of my favorite go-to Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day horror films.
Please, I prefer Saturnalia. Please, thank you.
Please.
I'm not celebrating Valentine's just today. I'm celebrating Saturnalia.
Saturnalia. Mm-hmm. We did an episode on that too.
Yeah.
So I know that Valentine's Day has passed, but that's fine. Horror is forever.
Absolutely.
So
unlike
whatever.
love.
Unlike love, actually. Absolutely. So I'm going to give you my top 5. This is what I definitely recommend when you are feeling like you need to slash your lover, but don't. Just
do
watch these instead.
Mm-hmm.
Alice.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if she had...
Or therapy. Or therapy. Probably therapy.
Maybe both.
Maybe both. That's
Maybe
true.
both. But definitely not murder.
Yeah, not that.
Either way you go about it.
Last option.
Definitely not murder. So here we go. My number 5 recommendation is going to be, and a lot of these are going to be pretty thematic, by the way, would be My Bloody Valentine.
Fuck yeah. I was going to suggest that one if you didn't put it on the list.
Of course I was going to put it on the fucking list.
It's very good. There are 2 of them. There's the original, and then there's the remake with Jensen Ackles. He's really fucking hot.
1981, and then in 2009.
Yes, 2009 version, man. He's so hot, even though he's so hot. If you've never seen it, you should watch it.
Yes. So the film focuses on the residents of a small town that is plagued by a serial killer in mining gear, very sexy mining gear.
Yeah, it does a lot. I don't really like caves and shit, but like we could just go inside like just the first part of the cave and we could pretend that we're like deep in the cave.
Did you know that deep in the cave? Did you know that it was the first R-rated film to be projected in Real D technology and to have a wide release of 1,000 locations in 3D-enabled theaters?
I did know that.
Very new
actually.
technology in 2009.
I think I went to watch it in 3D and then I was pissed because like I couldn't see like his facial features as much and it was just all this like shit coming out at my face and I was mad.
Yeah.
I was really pissed.
It got mixed reviews when it came out. Some said that it was just kind of formulaic and generic, criticizing its screenplay, wooden characters, and 3D technology. However, many did consider it to be better than the original 1981 film. And also, fun fact, Jared Padalecki also starred in his own remake at the same time in Friday the 13th.
Absolutely. Yep.
So there we go.
The connection there, in case you aren't a Supernatural fan, although I feel like there's a lot of crossover. Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles are the 2 brothers that star in the hit TV show Supernatural.
Yes. Number 4 on my list is Audition, which is a 1999 Japanese horror film based on a 1997 novel. And it's about a widower whose son suggests that he should find a new wife. He agrees, and with a friend stages a phony audition to meet a potential new partner in life. And after interviewing several women, becomes interested in one particular lady who responds well to him, although as they date, her dark past affects their relationship.
Ain't that a story? Yeah. Wow, what a...
It's a little crazy. This film's definitely interesting.
Nuts, if you've never seen it.
It was originally a project of the Japanese company Omega Project, who wanted to make a horror film after the great financial success of their previous production, The Ring, or Ringu, as I believe it's called. Audition was received positively by Western film critics on its release, with many noting the final torture sequence in the film and how it contrasts with the non-horrific scenes before. The film has appeared on several lists of the best horror films ever made and has had an influence on other horror films and directors, including Eli Roth.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely check that one out.
Yeah, it's a good, that's kind of I think it's one of the big horror films.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a touchstone film. There's nothing else that's quite like Audition, and it's kind of notorious for that.
Pretty much. Number 3 on my list would be Valentine, which is a 2001 American slasher film directed by Jamie Blanks and starring our late 90s, early 2000s scream queen Denise Richards and David how do you pronounce his last name? David Boreanaz?
The guy from
Angel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was going to say Buffy.
We're going to call him David. And Katherine Heigl, loosely based on the novel of the same name by Tom Savage. The film follows a group of women in San Francisco who are stalked by a killer wearing a Cupid mask. Released theatrically in February of 2001, the film was critically panned, with critics deeming it too similar to 1980s slasher films. Which what?
The fuck? The fuck?
Which what? Bish what? I don't understand. I don't understand, bitch. I don't understand. The film earned $36.7 million on a $10 million budget.
All right.
Fun fact, one of the very few film trailers to have a female narrator.
Huh.
Yes. Katherine Heigl has disowned the film.
She really?
Claiming that she hates it. She didn't read the whole script before accepting her role. Sounds like her fucking problem, if you ask me.
Absolutely. Don't say shit about it. Although that is some shit that I would do as well.
She only read the scenes containing her character.
What? I believe that. She's supposed to be such an ungodly cunt.
In a 2005 magazine interview, she said she regretted the decision to appear in the film after seeing the final cut of the film. But again, sounds like your problem. You didn't read the script.
Yeah. Don't complain about it. I mean, I don't blame you for doing dumb shit like that, but don't complain about it after the fact. I don't think I've seen that movie.
It's a really good film. So it has Denise Richards in it. I think she gets pretty early off.
Yeah.
And actually what was funny about this film is that you had like a lot of the title or a lot of the, what do you call the actors who are headline on the the front, like Denise Richards and Katherine Heigl and David. They had like the least amount of screen time in the entire film, but they were the ones that were headline.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty crazy film, honestly. There's a scene in there where she's opening up a box of chocolates and she's like eating them, and it turns out to be maggots.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's that like old time, like not old timey, but like it's that good old fashioned early 2000s, just cheap horror, like very much in the vein of like urban legends and, you know, that type of vibe.
Very cool.
And then number 2 on my list is, and I actually did watch this on Valentine's Day, is Bride of Chucky. One of my personal favorites. 1998 American comedy slasher film. And actually one of the directors of this, and I realized this is why I like this so much, Ronnie Yu, who later went on to direct Freddy vs. Jason, which I also love. And it makes sense because they're very similar. This is the 4th installment in the Child's Play franchise. It stars my queen, Jennifer Tilly, as the voice of Tiffany, Brad Dourif as the voice of Chucky, John Ritter, and again, Katherine Heigl.
Did she regret this one?
She didn't say, I don't know. I'm like, you did that one, but then you did, well, this one was in 1998. The other one was later, so I don't know. But anyway. I
don't know about her.
None of us do. Unlike the first 3 films, Bride of Chucky takes a markedly humorous turn towards self-referential parody. It does not continue the concept of a child in possession of the doll, but it focuses mainly on Chucky. The film was released on October 16th, 1998, and grossed $50.7 million worldwide on a budget of $25 million. Fun fact, writer Don Mancini was in fact inspired by The Bride of Frankenstein. As noted by the scene in the movie when Tiffany, right before she gets killed, she's watching The Bride of Frankenstein, which I thought was a cute little like nod to that. Yeah. And to date, this is actually one of Brad Dourif's favorites in the franchise.
Well done. It's a good movie.
And number 1, which is really hard. I did want to put Bride of Chucky number 1, but I put this one number 1 for me. And that is The Rage Carrie 2, which is a 1999 American supernatural horror film directed by Kat Shea. And it's kind of stars, like these are kind of unknown people. Emily Burkle plays the main character. They do bring back Amy Irving, who reprises her role of Sue Snell from the first film. And its plot follows the younger half-sister of Carrie White, also suffering with telekinesis, who finds that her best friend's, trigger warning here, suicide was spurred by a group of popular male classmates who exploited her for sexual gain. And the film is a sequel to the 1976 horror film Carrie, based on the 1974 novel of the same name by Stephen King, and the second film in the Carrie franchise. The film was released on March 12th, 1999, and received generally negative reviews from critics. I don't know why. Critics of 1999, I need to have a word with you. The film was a box office bomb at the time of release, grossing $17 million against a $21 million production budget.
Wow.
But has since, as most films do when they bomb at the box office, has since developed a cult following. Hi, I'm cult following.
Hi, it's me.
It's me. Following. I'm cult following. Many fans feeling it was unfavorably compared to the original rather than being taken at its own merit, and some fans even preferring it to the original. Another fun fact, during filming of the climactic party bloodbath sequence, it took 3 attempts to shoot Rachel using her telekinetic powers to shatter these big, huge glass doors in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
On the first take, Emily flinched, and on the second take, she showed her clenched teeth. On the third take, they were able to finish the scene as they wanted it, with her showing no facial reaction. Real glass shattered by the blowers was used for this scene, and Emily received multiple cuts on her skin, back, arms, legs, and backside. After the shooting of each take, she is deliberately not shown afterward from the back to hide her injuries.
Jesus.
She was a boss-ass bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, like, first of all, we should be making sure that we're taking care of our actors and not shooting fucking blowing shards of glass at them. Yeah. Most definitely. But also I can appreciate the commitment, but also like condemn the actions of the people who were setting this up.
Right.
But I love this film. It's probably one of my favorite go-to Valentine's films just because of its whole like revenge action. You know, I love a good like revenge moment. It's no secret that Carrie's one of my favorites. Like, I'm definitely that meme where it's like, good for her. Holding a drink in my hand, good for her. And when I'm watching that scene, which sort of takes the old, prom scene from the first one, but then incorporates it into this sort of like modern, for the times, teen party, and there's like CDs being telekinetically thrown around and slicing people off. The CDs
thing was cute.
And different things like that. But there's just something about that like badass moment where she's standing there, and I think she has a rose tattoo with thorns, and it just like starts to grow and move across her body. And she just, I don't know, it just took it to another level for me. I love the Carrie franchise, and I think it is the perfect revenge horror for you to watch and just sort of release that anger that you might be feeling around this time of the year. Katie.
No. I'm doing good. I'm doing really great.
So those are my top 5.
Those are good.
5.
I agree with that.
I was gonna do I was just gonna do one film, but I was like, nope, let me do 5 films.
Yeah. I mean, of course. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Why would you not?
Absolutely.
Well, that's fun. So you got yourself a little true crime, got yourself a little horror.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good haunted heart night.
Absolutely. It's a staple.
Absolutely. Well, I think that means our job here is done.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get. It's time for me to get on the Orly and head out.
We gotta climb aboard the Orly and head on out to pasture to Gold Dust, Tennessee. All right, guys, you know the drill. If you want to get more of us anywhere. I don't know why you would, but if you do, if you want it, it's out there waiting for you. We're on Instagram at The Haunted Heart Podcast. We are on Twitter at The Haunted Heart. We're on Facebook. If you search The Haunted Heart, you'll find our page. If you would give us a little like, give us a little review there on Facebook. And you will also find the Haunted Heart Podcast group on Facebook. Please join. If you haven't joined the group and you listen to the show, I really do encourage you to join us there. It's really fun. The discussions are always really cool. The memes are always fire, and everybody in the group just is really. I'm so proud of our little group. How everybody supports each other and
absolutely.
Takes care of each other. It's very
no
sweet.
Drama.
It's very sweet. Yeah, no drama. We don't do that.
Mm-mm.
We don't have the bandwidth for that. We don't have the time.
Bandwidth.
Yeah, we don't. It's just not a thing that we can do.
Yeah.
So do join us there. If you have episode recommendations, like topic recommendations for future episodes of the show, or film recommendations, or you just want to say, hey, what's up? You can always find us on email, thehauntedheartpodcast@gmail.com. And we will get you a message. We will write you a message back and we will send you some love. Kenny wants me to threaten you guys to please rate, review
I do.
the podcast.
I do.
We love getting reviews. We love seeing them, and we may even read them on the show. So definitely drop by whatever podcast platform you are listening to us on and make sure that you have given us 5 stars and let us know what you think. And then the only other thing is Patreon. If you are interested in supporting the show, you can find us at patreon.com/thehauntedheart. You can sign up there. Tiers start at $1 a month, and you can sort of join the club. You can get a candle lit on a future episode. You can be invoked, and we will send you all the good intentions for health, wealth, and happiness, and whatever else it is you might need.
Yeah, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Ditto.
Mm-hmm. And I think that is the housekeeping for you.
That is all of the housekeeping for you this evening. So, like we said, we're going to get in our carriage. We're going to head on over to the Orly, head back up to Gold Dust, Tennessee, and that's where we'll be until it's time for us to come back at you with who knows what. It might be true crime. It might be
a bunch of mess.
A bunch of shit. It might just be exactly that. Me
in a bunch of mess.
Sitting here at the mic trying desperately to search for words inside of my brain that can come out of my mouth and make some sort of sense.
Yeah. But until next time, until Kenny gets his phrasing together, you know what you have to do. You have got to, for the love of all that is unholy, stay spooky.